Are you ready?
Yeah. Are you starting?
Yeah, I'm starting.
I assumed.
And I have a little treat for us for this little thing.
For me?
Yeah. While we're talking on the subject.
Oh, Tom, you shouldn't have.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't bring anything to open it with.
Really?
I didn't.
Good thing I carry this on me at all times.
Cheers.
This is really what you drink over there?
Yeah, it is.
Really?
This is what they are obsessed with this stuff
Wow.
over there, and that's not even a joke. A joke.
That's I mean, it's definitely not a light lager. I can definitely.
No, if anything, I think they even have this stuff to a science, which I think is very funny.
I've never been a fan of science,
'Cause-
but I would like you to keep
Well, I think
talking about that.
A beer science, I'd say, because I remember I also went to the Guinness factory when I was over in Ireland, and they had an actual workshop class where they showed you how to pour the beers, 45-degree angle,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Sounds like
So-
my type of science, I'm not gonna lie.
Sounds like my type of science too.
So now, Tom, speaking of beer, I must ask the question. How often did you actually go out while you're in Ireland? Go into the bars, the pubs, the clubs?
Well, as actually no clubs. I never managed to go to a club, but then again, that's just a personal choice. I'm not much of a club person, but I know that it's like, you know, the big joke where it's like, oh, all Irish people do is go to pubs and stuff like that. But I did learn a lot about how like ingrained it is to not just like, you know, the younger cultures, but pretty much ages, like all ages within Ireland, especially in Galway. Because I remember, well, not every weekend. I would go out most weekends, and I would see like just so many people out, and it seemed less like, oh, you know, we're gonna go get crazy and get hammered and all of that, and more of just like it was kind of like their social moments or like their main social life, which I think was very interesting to see, because it wasn't just like here where it's like, oh, you know, all partying and crazy, but it's just like kind of like a normal thing they have in their social circles. So it was actually quite nice to see, and I had a lot of fun with it.
So, what was it like coming back and getting used to schooling here again? Because obviously you didn't have it for, almost 9 months of not having like a normal U.S. class.
Yeah, it was very different over there, and honestly, while I loved a lot of things in Ireland, that was kind of the thing that I didn't like, because the classes were very not personal, if you know what I mean.
I don't actually, because you
Yeah, it's
speak on
like
that more.
it was in these big halls,
Mhm.
and student numbers would range from like 30 to like 60 in some classes, and it like was just, I don't know, I just felt like a number rather than a student, and you know, there was no homework.
Plus.
Well, it's a plus most of the time, but then I also had nothing to really practice with for the harder things, and it was essentially just we go in, we listen to the lecture for an hour, and then we just leave, and that's about it.
Now, speaking of being happy, you're happy when you eat potatoes, and I know you eat a lot of potatoes, right?
I do eat lots of potatoes.
What do you do with them? Boil them?
If this question is going where I think it's going, yes, I did eat lots of potatoes over there.
Put them in a stew, even?
That's that's the preferred way.
Yeah.
There's actually a wide range of foods like over there,
Really?
in the area. I found myself actually being like having a lot more options open, especially like Asian foods,
Really?
which I think is funny because everybody makes the joke that, you know, Irish people can't take spice and things like that, like, oh, they can barely handle salt. Yet, like, one of their most iconic foods is a spice bag, or at least street foods is a spice bag, which is essentially a bag of fries, chicken, and spices. And it's very good.
3 great things.
And I remember there was a restaurant that I visited almost daily, at least when my wallet could handle it, called Zian Street Food, and they had the best spice bags imaginable.
What was your favorite spice bag that you had then?
It was them.
Well, I mean, what's in it?
It's pretty much the same thing I said, except they use Chinese spices, and it's like actually hot.
Ooh.
So
Are you sure? I don't. You could really handle all that?
I can, yes, and so could all the other Irish people, I guess. So hey, myth busted.
I'm not convinced, but
Neither am I.
so. Did you go anywhere while you were in Ireland? Like, obviously you left the island. You had to have.
I did.
Yeah.
I planned a trip with a bunch of other friends from the
Mates?
university, mates from the university, and we went to Amsterdam.
Really?
And that was a really good experience for me because that was actually the first time I feel like I've ever experienced culture shock, and that I was able to really walk into a place and not know what's going on and kind of just had my whole perception of how things are supposed to be completely rocked.
What was like the first thing that you really pointed out, like that got you?
I walked into a convenience store because I was hungry and wanted a sandwich,
As we all.
and
do
I
sometimes.
as we all do, and I walked in and I could not read a single thing in the store because it was all in Dutch. And I had no idea what anything was because all the sandwiches looked the same and I didn't know what anything was. And I won't lie, I got a little anxious. But, I had a lot of friends there who helped me through it, and I kind of learned a lot about, Amsterdam and its culture and the things that happen over there.
Isn't it awesome that you were able to have such a great opportunity, a global one even, and you were able to spend a whole semester abroad?
It was Titan. It was very great to have a whole semester abroad thanks to Susquehanna University's GO program.
Wow. Isn't that great?
It was. And actually, if I can get serious for a moment,
Yes.
I think it actually was really great because essentially, even though it didn't really seem like it at the time, the way that I viewed this trip was sort of a way for me, being someone who's Irish descendant and can live there one day, to understand the culture itself and how it works and, how it's different from my own, and from the smallest little detail to the biggest change, and be able to really understand them more for myself to grow as a person and better understand people from different cultures as myself.
That was very poetic.
Yeah, so overall, trip was alright.
I think I'm drunk.
Okay.